Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nupehadda. Today, it's Yugo related, of course, but this is mostly a thing I want to be talking about for a long time, but I wanted to at least do a little bit of research into it. So, it's not really a rant per se, but let's just get to the point of the matter. When it comes to pendulums, the mechanics, and the cards themselves and everything, I don't really have an issue with them until you get to the point where it tells you in the description of how they work and the mechanics and everything, when instead of being destroyed and sent to the graveyard or whatever, tribute synchro or whatever, unless they were negated and destroyed by card effect, then they're sent to the graveyard. But any other time, they're sent to the extra deck face up. That's the biggest problem with pendulums right now, is the simple fact that the concept, it sounds good on paper. Like, oh, you can revive your monsters back and everything. But in practice, this is becoming problematic for the casual community. Competitive, I don't know what y'all thinking on this point. That'll bring me to my next issue of what's going on later on this video. But synchros and exceed monsters were new things too as well. However, they never went back to the extra deck when they got killed or used for materials for other summonings or anything. They went to the grave, so it was harder to, utilize them, abusively. Like, yeah, there are ways to abuse them and everything like that. You just gotta know what the combos are and everything. Pendulums, on the other hand, they don't have a hard way of doing that. In fact, right now, because their ability to go to the extra deck face up and be re-summoned as many times as you want, you cannot use the normal ways of getting rid of pesky monsters. Like, yeah, you can get rid of the exceed or sinker or whatever they go into, but pendulum monsters themselves, when they get destroyed by card effects and everything like that, when they're already on the field, will just go to the extra deck. They don't even go to the graveyard unless for rare occasions. So, and they can be resummoned by pendulum summoning, which is another, big thing on this. It's the simple fact that pendulums are very powerful, and I fear that they are too powerful as a game mechanic. If it wasn't for the fact that they dealt with the extra deck, like if they never touched the extra deck, like they just died and everything like that, then I would be for it, 100%, because that means decks beforehand, they could use the scales and summon monsters that they normally couldn't summon in the past. It's the simple fact that the extra deck is utilized as a safe haven for previously positioned monsters. So, in a sense, I guess I am ranting a bit, but I'm not angry about it. It's the simple fact that pendulums is not a fair mechanic for everyone. Synchros and exceeds could be labeled that as well, but as I said, once you kill them, they die. So it takes a lot longer to get that stuff back. But pendulums as a game mechanic and everything is not fair at all. And I don't see many older players, back when I started and everything, back in 2002 or anything later, are going to really keep up with it. Like, if they do, it's more power to them, but I don't see myself ever using pendulums. Pendulum Magicians are one of the few decks that I had to see utilize something that I actually predicted when pendulums first, got announced and everything. As soon as we learned the mechanics and everything like that, I theorized, even with my friends and all, that it's only going to be a matter of time before a pendulum pure deck is going to come and it's going to be top tier because you can't stop it. And currently, I'm right on this because even though we don't have a pure theme Pendulum deck yet, we still have like the oddball cards in there and everything. It's getting closer and closer. Quill Force was probably the closest we had. And then we got the Magicians that came out, which are probably the best examples of this, of a purified Pendulum deck that doesn't use any outside resources, unless, of course, the player wants to. Like, if you build pure Magicians, you can do it. Pendulum deck right there. But Quillforts, Pepes, even though they are Pendulum decks and everything, they are not pure. They still have non-Pendulum cards in there, monster-wise and all. Spells and Traps, you're never going to be in the scenario where it's going to be pure at that point, but Wavering Eyes and cards like that make these decks so stupidly good. But as I said, the older players will eventually, get tired of it and everything because it is not a fun concept because you're just doing everything over and over again. There's no variety in terms of how the game is played until they are actually forced to think variety. You pretty much, Ignites would probably be the biggest examples of this. Scale of Ignites. Ignites effect goes off, blows themselves up, go into the extra deck, search for Warrior Fire type, which is our Ignites. Scale again, blow up, do the same thing. Scale, Pendulum Summon. 5 cards on the field. Yeah. And your opponent is looking at you like, what do I do? Especially if they don't have any pendulums. Like I said, the game mechanics are not fair. Like, they would be more fair if the extra deck was not included into the game for their mechanics and everything, but since they are, that is a big problem. And really, I don't see any more advances that the game can actually do. So, like, there are still decks out there that are fighting against pendulums and everything like that. Even they don't even use pendulum cards, which it's good for now. Cosmos are still there. Burning Abyss can do so much, but Magicians, they don't really have a chance against because most of the cards that they are utilizing against Magicians is actually a plus for them. Pepes, they have a better chance against, but it all depends on if they can get good field setup, and we really need other stuff for Burning Abyss. But Magic Specters is probably one of the biggest cards, archetypes, such as say that I don't know why it was made. I understand that new stuff needs to be made and everything, and then you got Despots, which is going to be problematic as well, but they are also have pendulum stuff, so like eventually we are going to get into a game status to where you either run pendulums in your deck or you don't run a deck at all. You could get away without running synchros, or exceed monsters. You could get away with not running them either because monarchs are starting to do that. So, which will get the new monarch structure deck pretty soon. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. But really, synchros and exceeds were never really a necessity for a deck. They help the deck, sure, but pendulums do not help a deck, they make a deck. There's a big difference. But the comment I made earlier about, other news and everything, as of pretty soon here, there is going to be an ARG event going to go on here in my area on February 13th. That will be my last competitive tournament that I'll be participating in. As of February 14th, I will announce my official retirement from competitive play from Yu-Gi-Oh! and we'll be sticking more to casual playing. I've been at this game since November of 2002. I've seen a lot of errors. I've seen Chaos Error. I've seen the Teldat Error. I've seen Monarch Perfect Circle. I even seen a lot of odd decks. Even some that I was in areas that I wasn't aware of, like Goat Control. I've never seen Goat Control. I've seen him play now, but I was never in that time frame, at least for some reason, that I ever saw Goat Control ever being played. I don't ever remember my locals ever playing Goat Control. Maybe someone did, I just don't remember, but I don't ever recall Goat Control being popular back then. They are now, like I've seen a lot of my friends and all that collect a lot of cards for Goat Control, and I'm wondering why. But apparently it's fun for them. I'm not a huge fan of it. But as I said, I will be retiring from competitive play as of February 14th. However, I still will be collecting. I'll still be playing Dev Pro. As much as I can, because right now the only thing going on in Dev Pro is Pepe, Magicians, Monarchs, and Blue Eyes. Yeah, Blue Eyes White Dragon decks are not fun to deal with unless you get a good hand. But my decks will focus more on casual plays. And I believe that Burning Abyss will be my last competitive deck. Unless pendulums are dealt with, you know, to the point where their game mechanics are changed, or the extra deck is no longer utilized for their resummoning and everything like that, I don't see myself coming back to competitive market. On the plus side of this, I don't have to worry about getting expensive cards anymore. So, unless I really, really need to for a particular casual deck, but that's what casual decks are for. They're for fun. They're not for competitive marketing. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate y'all watching this video, and as I said, this was kind of a rant, but I'm not going to yell about it. I'm just giving my personal opinions on it, and I appreciate everyone that I ever had a chance to duel or become friends because of this game on a competitive level. You know, I made some, cool friends and everything. Some enemies. I won't name any names on that because, enemies are enemies, so we all have them. Depending on how you want to view it, but I have a lot of good memories, and I really enjoyed what I've done. So, y'all have a nice evening, and good night.